You'll feel better. I promise.
Fascinating. Consuming parasites. You can now absorb the psionic potential of illithid parasites to evolve Mind Flayer powers. Consume the first parasite in your inventory to unlock the powers menu. Future parasites will automatically appear there. Fascinating. I've just been collecting them because I thought they might be helpful, but they actually have like an actual proper full-on use. I have no idea what to make of that. At first it was like, oh my god, I love you. And then it was like, are you the absolute? Fascinating. Oh, I have no idea what to make of that. My instinct is telling me that it isn't the absolute. My instinct is telling me that that is someone who is genuinely on my side, but also genuinely thinks that harnessing the enemy's power is the best way. I'm just worried that she's the Boromir of this game. It is a gift. The weapon of the enemy. And it's like, one does not simply harness Mind Flayer parasites. I think Eve would be very, very tempted, if not for that fact that she lost something. She's still spooked. She can't get over that. So I now know what these are for. So I'm going to send these to camp, as I now know I don't need to carry them. Oh my god, that was incredible. Also, because like, when I had to design that character at the beginning, I believe I cut that as well. I thought like, oh, okay, is this going to be like your bodyguard that you have with you? But then it's like, it's weird that you can't choose a class. So I assumed, oh, well, they must just be a fighter then. But, you know, and like I had all these thoughts going through. And the fact that they have now showed up in that capacity, I love that you could design them. Oh, that's... So many thoughts, so many things going on. Save. Hi, Wrath. Hi, Karlak. You just reminiscing about time in the hells. Sorry, I'm just making jokes here.
I had a wild dream last night. This beautiful entity came to me.
Oh, I suddenly feel less special.
Me. Told me the parasite in our heads could give us power.
But interesting that we all had it. I mean, that implies we were all on the verge of turning. I detest talking about dreams. Alright, yeah, so that does make me feel less special. It is less of a, you are the chosen one and more. But then again, I'm the only one that Raphael came to. The others didn't mention it. Maybe they would have if I'd spoken to them. At least this means that I can get their thoughts on it. So I don't have to say, hey, so I had a dream that we should harness this power. I can just get their thoughts. I had a similar dream. A side effect of the tadpole.
Sounds like it. What did you make of it?
Some sort of psionic trick. I don't believe a word. It's just a dream. If there's some kind of power, I'm willing to try it. Oh, no, the first two are like, it's not, we should ignore it. I wish there was a fourth option that was, I believe someone is actually speaking to us, but I'm afraid to go with it. I think it was some kind of psionic trick. I don't believe a word it said. I mean, that's not true, but it's the best of the options.
Damn right. Things like a splinter. We just need to find a way to squeeze it out.
Lovely. Oh, playing with your spiky ball. How's it going? Don't spike yourself. Oh, you spiked yourself. It's going right through your finger.
Did you have any strange dreams of late? Vivid ones?
There was the one about tying up, but apart from that, it happened to you as well?
Damn. I was hoping my imagination had gotten the better of me. But this must be something more. This dream companion wanted me to use the tadpole, use its power. Whoever it was claimed to be an ally, but I don't know. It seems like we can't escape this mess. In the waking world or otherwise.
So I don't actually get her thoughts on it. Or at least she didn't ask my opinion on it. She just doesn't fully trust it, which I'd say is the most level response. I want to talk to you about your Shah worship.
I'm sure you do. But please try to understand that it's not something I can just talk about freely.
I might have to reconsider. My apologies. I have no problems with Shah worshippers. If that's what concerns you, you should trust me. Well, definitely 3. I mean, there's +4. So yeah. I have no problems with Shah worshippers if that's what concerns you. Oh, it's an easy one as well. I mean, it's true. She really has no problem with it.
Very well. Perhaps there's potential in you. Let's see how you handle this. I am indeed a disciple of Shah, Mistress of the Night and Lady of Loss. I assume you've heard of her?
Remind me, your faith is your own concern, I won't judge. She doesn't sound very appealing. I've heard Shah worship is vilified by many, forbidden outright in parts. I mean, that is the scholarly response, which would be the first thing Eve thinks of. I've heard Shah worship is vilified by many, forbidden outright in parts.
Well, if that troubles you, perhaps you should fetch the bailiff to arrest me. Ah, but there's no bailiff
Oh my
here,
God.
is there? Just leagues of wilderness and the dangers lurking within.
Wow.
We're in this together. But I'll happily go it alone. My faith will keep me company.
You're very edgy. I can't help but feel you and I might have missed a chance to connect, truly connect. I can flirt with her. Now does not feel the time. It's right after that, especially. I want to talk about all that's happened to us.
Fine. What's on your mind?
How am I holding up?
Does it even need to be asked? We're beyond me merely liking you. I think I'm a different person, owing to you.
You give me such mixed signals. Oh my God. Well, if that bothers you, I can just go it alone. I can be alone. This soldier's very dangerous around here without me. I actually really, really like you. What do you think about what happened to the Druid Grove?
I suppose some would commend our actions. Goblins would have razed that whole place to nothing if it weren't for us. No excuse to rest on our laurels, though. We've still got our own problems to contend with.
Okay. She seems to just sort of take it on the chin. I want to get to know you more, Shadowheart.
You already know my biggest secrets. What more can you ask?
What drew you to Shah worship?
She took me in when no one else would. Without her, I wouldn't be alive. She's my mother. She nurtures me, cares for me, loves me. Don't believe the lies the Saloonites tell.
Tell me something about yourself besides Shah, besides tadpoles.
What? Besides my life's calling and the greatest problem I've ever faced?
Yeah.
Well, I like night orchids and can't swim. Is that the sort of thing you meant?
That's exactly the sort of thing I meant. That's exactly it. You'll have to point out night orchids to me if we ever pass some.
It's a deal.
Anything else you'd care to share?
No, I can't. I mean, I literally can't. There's certain things I can't remember.
Oh,
right now.
that's
Shah's
suspect.
secrets must be preserved above all else. All who worship her know this. I have had certain memories suppressed, voluntarily, so that I can serve Shah without compromising her. If I manage to return to Baldur's Gate and fulfill Shah's mission, then my memories will be restored.
So she took your memories as collateral, is what you're saying. It's like, all right, do this job for me. I'm going to hold on to these until you get back. You've had your memories suppressed? That seems extreme.
Of course. It is an act of faith, not to be undertaken lightly. Shah will reward me when I succeed.
Yeah, I suppose.
You know, I've been thinking, and I think there's something I should tell
Are
you.
you a vampire?
Nothing big or terrible, just a small little detail about me that hasn't come up naturally.
That you're a vampire.
It's just that I happen to be
A vampire.
what's the best way to put this?
A bloodsucker.
A vampire.
Really? Well, yes, obviously.
Right. Well. Glad we got that out the way. So, was there anything else?
Oh my god. So... Something this game is doing is it embraces aspects of D&D as a TTRPG that I would never expect a game to do. And one of those that it's embracing is bad writing and bad acting, in a way. So, like, and I'm not entirely keen on the bad writing, you know, stuff like the super edgy Shadow Heart, you know, I've talked about my issues with that. But the bad acting is something that I find sort of refreshing, because bad writing can happen by accident. Bad acting, that is a deliberate choice in this case, and that is so funny to me that they were just like, yeah, this person's got a... Because people do this, you know, you get players who have a secret and they're just really crap at hiding it, and this is that. And yeah, the other people just sort of cotton on until they're willing to mention it. How does one become a vampire exactly?
It's simple. Just find a vampire that will drink your blood and turn you into a vampire spawn. Their obedient puppet. In theory, the next step is to drink their blood. Once you've done that, you're free. And a true vampire.
So they bite you, you bite them?
Yes and no. The problem is, once you're a vampire spawn, they completely control you. They have to allow you to bite them. And why would they do that? Vampires are power-hungry creatures. They won't lose a servant to create a competitor. Trust me, it doesn't happen.
As much as I dislike Asterion, he probably has the best voice acting in this game. Like, I noticed it early on with the where he's flirting and the...
Oh, you're no fun.
It was just brilliantly said, that line. But just there, the sadness in his voice was spectacular. Tell me about your history.
Why do you insist on exhuming the past? I was a slave. A vampire spawn. Kept by the Tsar family. Perhaps I still am. I was never able to resist their commands. But now, I've been conveniently lost. They won't ever control me again.
Damn. So the implication is he isn't an actual vampire. Or, I reckon he was freed by a sympathetic member of the family. And they may have even made him into a true vampire. But I'm not sure. Interesting. That is really intriguing. Oh, I don't really want to talk to Lae'zel.
Glick. I had a dream. As we all did, I suspect. Someone came to me and promised to protect me while claiming that the parasite could empower me. The parasite has taken root, it would seem. Every word, every promise, it is geich deception.
Yeah, it makes sense that she'd interpret that way. But there's just one thing I wanted to address before we talk about the dream. Last night you held a knife to my throat. I just wanted to let you know that I'm not holding a grudge or anything, but you only get one. Both you and Asterion have exhausted that one, so if you ever do that again, I will not respond nicely. Let's change the subject.
As you wish.
Yeah, I'm torn about the dream figure. I don't fully... It's not that I don't trust her. I'm inclined to believe what she said. It's that I don't think it is worth the risk. So, while she may think it is, I think her intentions are true. It's just not something I want to risk.
I had a dream last night. A vivid one. And so did you, judging from the way my tadpole is tingling.
Oh, TMI, mate.
Someone came to me and promised to protect me while claiming that the parasite could empower me. Tempting as these powers sound, we should recognize this dream for what it is. The tadpole's little trick.
Nobody's going for this.
No good ever came from trusting honey-tongued strangers conjured up by elithid worms.
I am surprised that nobody in this camp has gone, we should totally do that. I bet Asterion would. I reckon Asterion would have been on board with that. Maybe I can go and talk to him again, and maybe it'll trigger the dream thing instead of the vampire thing. We should have as little to do with these tadpoles as we can.
Well said. This dream figure is no friend to us.
Oh, what do you make of Raphael? What do you make of Raphael?
He brings to mind a story. The Devil with the Silver Tongue. An old fairy tale my father read to me. The kind with a hero, a villain, and a moral. A farmer made a deal with the devil, so the story goes. In exchange for the farmer's dearest fruit, the devil granted him a bottomless coin purse. The farmer's dearest fruit, naturally, was no apple nor peach, but his beloved daughter. We can learn a lot from fairy tales. Don't you think?
With the right teacher, what are your thoughts on the devil? Get to the point. You mean Raphael, we should consider his offer. Spare me the parables. Interesting coming from someone who's already been ensnared by a devil. That seems needlessly combative. He said that he had good reason for it, and I'm inclined to let that go. I'm not going to challenge him on it. With the right teacher, yes. What are your thoughts on the devil, Will?
Refuse him. No matter how tempting the offer, no matter how delicious the feast he lays out for you, the cost will be too great.
Again, the fourth option, refuse him like you refused Mizora, only you didn't, did you? He is coming across as a bit hypocritical here, but that is too combative. Don't worry, I have no interest in a devil's deal.
That's because you still have hope. But when he becomes your last hope, remember this. He'll require of you only what you're least ready to part with, and then require more still. You might think you'd give up anything for a cure, but the devil won't take just anything. He'll take everything.
As a conversation between two warlocks with pacts with a fiend, this is a very odd conversation. Like, he has been completely screwed by his patron. With the red eye and the glowing horns and stuff. Not glowing horns, they're just horns. But I don't know where glowing came from. But Eve has had an entirely different experience. So I mentioned that I'm glad they're not... that Raphael isn't my patron. That he does seem to just be a separate devil who's come in to offer another way of getting rid of the parasite. And it's amazing there are so many ways. The thing with Eve's patron is that it was a patron that sort of marked her before she was born. Essentially what happened, like short version, is there was a devil that her mother, the Ayla, had assisted in the containment of. She didn't imprison it or anything, but she made sure it didn't get out. And then years later, when Ayla was pregnant with Eve, she visited the place that the devil was kept to check on it, as was part of her duty, and it sort of imprinted on Eve, or Eve imprinted on it, sort of unclear. And it's become, as far as Ayla and Eve's father are concerned, Eve is looking after the patron in the form of a silver orb. So she has it with her. At least, assuming there's nothing in this game that contradicts this. Yeah, she has it with her, and officially she's like looking after it, and the powers that she has, she gets from her worship of ostensibly Palor. But Eve just sort of didn't share where she actually got them from, which she found out later was the orb. This orb that she's always had a very special connection to and is rather fond of. But like her patron has never asked her for anything. Not directly, at least. So while it is likely that the patron is, absorbing power from her or subtly influencing her, she's never even had this direct contact with it. She's never spoken to it exactly. She just keeps it and one day asked it for help and it provided it. So yeah, it's a different, very, very different situation. Pacts with devils are not just one note. It's not just a case of, they offered you something and you took it and you're an idiot. There are 1,000 reasons one could make a pact with the devil. So, as much as Eve doesn't trust Raphael, she is not going to dismiss it out of hand because it's a devil. Hope you don't mind me sharing that story.
My apologies. Huh. Not quite myself just yet. I had the strangest dream last night. A visitor came to me. A vision of unparalleled beauty and power.
She
told
was
me
very beautiful, yes.
She was watching over me, protecting me, and that our tadpoles could prove beneficial if we embrace what powers they have to offer. An uncanny apparition. Not entirely sure what to make of it.
You don't believe this is a real person? I had the same dream, similar visitor with a similar message. I wonder if we all saw the same person. Because he saw someone beautiful. Probably just something you ate. I had the same dream, a similar visitor with a similar message.
Very curious. In all my readings on the effects of illithid parasites, I've never come across any accounts of correlating dreams between infected parties. Another unique quality of our predicament, perhaps. Are you inclined to take these visitors at their word?
Of course not, I'm not sure. Yeah, that's the closest. Finally, an answer that is actually closest to my personal opinions. I'm not sure. Such an apparition has its own motives, whatever it's told us.
Nothing wrong with maintaining a healthy suspicion in such matters.
Yes.
Still, it might be wiser to keep an open mind on the matter. Our visitors' promises of aid might yet bear valuable fruit.
He's the only person to not be entirely against it. What do you make of having a vampire in our camp? Saving before I say this. What do you make of having a vampire in our camp?
We all have our burdens. One way or the other.
I like Gale. Ah, I really wish there was space for a spellcaster in my party because he seems really cool.
I had the strangest dream.
Ah, good.
There was a visitor promising me protection and all sorts of delicious powers from the parasites in our heads. Given our shared affliction, I suppose you had a similar dream.
Interesting that only he and Lae'zel figured that someone else had the dream too. I did.
Excellent. Now we can see what these tadpoles can do for us.
Yeah, I thought he'd be all for it. I don't trust it. We should avoid using these powers.
Is there a reason you're such an utter drip? I mean, do you have some sort of condition? Honestly, it's like you hate good news. Did you actually want something, or are you just here to spoil my fun?
Oh, God. He is growing on me. The more I talk to him, he's growing on me. Oh, my God. Yeah, I know I've said it a couple of times, but just to reiterate, Eve is intrigued by the power that they offer. She thinks it could be very, very helpful. She's just not sure she's willing to pay that price. It's the devil thing in another light, isn't it? That it is an offer of power in exchange for something, and the thing is, she's already begun to pay the price without gaining the power, and the price was too high. So if that was the price she paid before embracing it, what the hell's the price going to be if she does? That's her thinking anyway. But that is enough for today. Thank you very much for watching. Next time I will hopefully get back to the Druid Grove. I've been getting distracted. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe for more board games, card games, miniatures and TTRPGs like this. And I will catch you later.